Today is Friday the 5th of April 2024 and we have 46 events to cover today, going all the way back to the year 823. Starting with the most recent event which happened 6 years ago. Agents with the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement raid a slaughterhouse in Tennessee, detaining nearly 100 undocumented Hispanic workers in one of the largest workplace raids in the history of the United States. 14 years ago in 2010, up to 50 people are killed and another 100 injured in 2 militant suicide bombings and attacks in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province of Pakistan. The first on an Awami National Party rally in Timaragara, the second on the US consulate in Peshawar. In the same year, 29 coal miners are killed in an explosion at the Upper Big Branch mine in West Virginia. Also in the same year, Space Shuttle Discovery is launched on STS-131 to resupply the International Space Station. 15 years ago in 2009, North Korea launches its controversial Kwangmyong-song 2 satellite. The satellite passed over mainland Japan, which prompted an immediate reaction from the United Nations Security Council, as well as participating states in 6-party talks. 17 years ago in 2007, the cruise ship MS Sea Diamond strikes a volcanic reef near Ni Kamini and sinks the next day. 2 passengers were never recovered and are presumed dead. 25 years ago in 1999, 2 Libyans suspected of bringing down Pan Am Flight 103 in 1988 are handed over for eventual trial in the Netherlands. 26 years ago in 1998, in Japan, the Akashi Kaikyo Bridge opens to traffic, becoming the longest bridge span in the world. 32 years ago in 1992, Alberto Fujimori, President of Peru, dissolves the Peruvian Congress by military force. In the same year, peace protesters Swada Dilverovic and Olga Sucic are killed on the Vibanya Bridge in Sarajevo, becoming the first casualties of the Bosnian War. 33 years ago in 1991, an ASA EMB 120 crashes in Brunswick, Georgia, killing all 23 aboard, including Senator John Tower and astronaut Sonny Carter. In the same year, the Space Shuttle Atlantis launches on STS-37 to deploy the Compton Gamma Ray Observatory. 47 years ago in 1977, the US Supreme Court rules that congressional legislation that diminished the size of the Sioux People's Reservation thereby destroyed the tribe's jurisdictional authority over the area in Rosebud Sioux Tribe versus Kneep. 48 years ago in 1976, in China, the April 5th movement leads to the Tiananmen incident. 53 years ago in 1971, in Sri Lanka, Janatha Vimukti Peramuna launches a revolt against the United Front government of Sirimavo Bandaranaike. 58 years ago in 1966. During the Buddhist uprising, South Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyen Cao Ky personally attempts to lead the capture of the restive city of Da Nang before backing down. 66 years ago in 1958, Ripple Rock, an underwater threat to navigation in the Seymour Narrows in Canada, is destroyed in one of the largest non-nuclear controlled explosions of the time. 68 years ago in 1956, in the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro declares himself at war with Cuban President Fulgencio Batista. 73 years ago in 1951, Cold War. Ethel and Julius Rosenberg are sentenced to death for spying for the Soviet Union. 75 years ago in 1949, a fire in a hospital in Effingham, Illinois, kills 77 people and leads to nationwide fire code improvements in the United States. 78 years ago in 1946, Soviet troops end their year-long occupation of the Danish island of Bornholm. In the same year, a Fleet Air Arm Vickers Wellington crashes into a residential area in Rabat, Malta, during a training exercise, killing all 4 crew members and 16 civilians on the ground. 79 years ago in 1945, in the Cold War, Yugoslav leader Josip Broz Tito signs an agreement with the Soviet Union to allow temporary entry of Soviet troops to Yugoslav territory. 81 years ago in 1943, in World War II, United States Army Air Forces bomber aircraft accidentally caused more than 900 civilian deaths, including 209 children and 1,300 wounded among the civilian population of the Belgian town of Mortsel. Their target was the early factory 1 kilometre from the residential area hit. 82 years ago in 1942, in World War II, Adolf Hitler issues Führer Directive No. 41, summarising Case Blue, including the German Sixth Army's planned assault on Stalingrad. In the same year, also in World War II, the Japanese Navy launches a carrier-based air attack on Colombo, Ceylon, during the Indian Ocean Raid. Port and civilian facilities are damaged, and the Royal Navy cruisers HMS Cornwall and HMS Dorsetshire are sunk southwest of the island. 86 years ago in 1938, in the Spanish Civil War, 2 days after the Nationalist Army occupied the Catalan city of Lleida, dictator Francisco Franco decrees the abolition of the Generalitat, the autonomous government of Catalonia, the self-government granted by the Republic, and the official status of the Catalan language. "88 years ago in 1936, Tupelo, Gainesville tornado outbreak. An F5 tornado kills 233 in Tupelo, Mississippi. 91 years ago in 1933, US President Franklin D. Roosevelt signs 2 executive orders, 6101 to establish the Civilian Conservation Corps and 6102 forbidding the hoarding of gold coin, gold bullion and gold certificates by US citizens. In the same year, in the Andorran Revolution, the young Andorrans occupy the Casa de Laval and force the government to hold democratic elections with universal male suffrage. "92 years ago in 1932, Dominion of Newfoundland, 10,000 rioters seize a colonial building, leading to the end of self-government. "102 years ago in 1922, the American Birth Control League, forerunner of Planned Parenthood, is incorporated. 114 years ago in 1910, the Transandine Railway connecting Chile and Argentina is inaugurated. 122 years ago in 1902, the Standbox collapses at Ibrox Park, now Ibrox Stadium, in Glasgow, Scotland, which led to the deaths of 25 and injuries to more than 500 supporters during an international association football match between Scotland and England. 145 years ago in 1879, Bolivia declares war on Chile, and Chile declares war on Peru, starting the War of the Pacific. 162 years ago in 1862, in the American Civil War, the Battle of Yorktown begins. 206 years ago in 1818, in the Battle of Maipú, Chile's independence movement, led by Bernardo O'Higgins and José de San Martin, win a decisive victory over Spain, leaving 2,000 Spaniards and 1,000 Chilean patriots dead. 229 years ago in 1795, Peace of Basel between France and Prussia is made. 232 years ago in 1792, United States President George Washington exercises his authority to veto a bill, the first time this power is used in the United States. 403 years ago in 1621, the Mayflower set sail from Plymouth, Massachusetts, on a return trip to England. 410 years ago in 1614, in Virginia, Native American Pocahontas marries English colonist John Rolfe. 458 years ago in 1566, 200 Dutch noblemen, led by Hendrik van Brederode, force themselves into the presence of Margaret of Parma and present the petition for compromise, denouncing the Spanish Inquisition in the 17 provinces. 488 years ago in 1536, Charles V makes a royal entry into Rome, demolishing a swath of the city to reenact a Roman triumph. 782 years ago in 1242, during the battle on the ice of Lake Peipus, Russian forces, led by Alexander Nevsky, rebuff an invasion attempt by the Teutonic Knights. 1105 years ago in 919, the second Fatimid invasion of Egypt begins, when the Fatimid heir apparent Al-Qaim Bimir Allah sets out from Raqqada at the head of his army. 1201 years ago in 823, Lothair I is crowned King of Italy by Pope Paschal I. So that is all we have for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you found our little trip back through history both relaxing and informative. If you did indeed like the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and also consider leaving a comment below. All feedback is very much welcome. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. It will really help the channel grow and will ensure that you are notified of future videos. Be sure to turn on notifications so that you are notified of future videos as soon as they are posted. Thank you again, and I hope to see you next time.